my conclusion is on lean thinking. We participate to a global movement worldwide, and we are much more interested to tell the truth in lean thinking than in lean. We know, I believe, perfectly well all the tools of the lean toolbox, but we believe that the main difficulty is to understand the management model and the way you have to lead your own lean transformation. So it's quite classical in IT and in other places. Lean thinking is about value, flow, pull, and perfection. So this is something quite classical, and about people. So if we speak about value, you had different sessions here about value when we had the chance of welcoming people knowing well the lean UX movement. So you had access to this kind of knowledge, expertise, research and development in terms of lean in IT. So value, what is it? I ask a team managing an IT department in a bank, please tell me, so it was really the executive level of management of this IT department, please tell me who are your clients, what kind of service are you delivering, and what is the value you are delivering. So they worked with Post-it. We love Post-it with lean, and in the end we made a short calculation. So out of 35 clients, they identified 3 clients of the bank: retail, small and medium company, large companies. Great. But you know, they were in small groups, so they would have been able, each group, of identifying each of them these 3 segments of clients. But it happened only one. Happily, there was a guy in charge of the website, so he knew these clients. Then they said, we have the employees. Okay, great. Then we are working a lot for the functions. You cannot imagine how many of our services are to deliver reportings to the whole bank. Great. An IT department working to create and deliver reporting. And then, you know, we are a lot working for us. This guy is my client, I'm his client, we are client of each other, and that's great. So, for sure, when you look at that from the value point of view, when you try to follow the money, when you ask, are you creating some benefit, real benefit, economical benefit for the company doing that, you say no, when we are working together, it's just waste. So the question of value is a good question in IT. Please reflect on that. Of course, who are the clients? The clients are the clients. Maybe the businesses in charge of the clients are the clients, because the businesses are creating the offer and creating the channels that will deliver the value to the clients. But at least the clients are really the clients of IT too. Maybe employees are part of the clients. Maybe not directly, but you know, in Lean we have an intense thinking on respect for people. And you know that working with an IT system really slow is something very, very hard for your personal morale. So when the IT system is too slow, not well designed and so on, you are just creating kind of desesperance inside the employees. So employees could be, in a way, clients. For sure, functions are not really clients. And IT for IT is not so interesting. What is value? So we are just in front of Gare de Lyon, where there was the first high-velocity train, high-speed high-velocity train in France called TGV, and we spent lots, billions of euros, francs at that time, to create this capability to go from Paris to Lyon in 2 hours instead of 4. This was creating value for us when we wanted to go there. Something quite technological. We are really proud of that. On the other hand, some years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, I don't know, the railway company, la SNCF, created a website where you could ask for a ticket for your train. And this also is creating value. So remember, TGV, you gain 2 hours between Paris and Lyon out of 4. But with that, you gain 2 hours out of 2 just to get a ticket. Because previously to that, you had to go to the train station. 20, 30 minutes. You had to wait because there was a long queue, 1 hour at least. Then you could buy in the end your ticket, and then you could come back home. Okay, so this is a way IT is creating value for each of us. So where is the value you are created? Difficult to know. Flow. So flow is something, value was known, you know, you've got people saying where is the value and blah, 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 even if Lean has a specific point of view. But flow is something that was well described with Lean, and flow is really linked to velocity. How fast can you be? And velocity is directly linked to value. Each of us, we want our coffee now, our train ticket now, we want our Microsoft Office access now, we want it now. So velocity is important for the company. And when you think of following the money, velocity is important because it's linked to time to cash. And I don't know how it is in your company, but I know that some of you can invoice when the product is delivered, not before, and the longest it is, the most they are, they need the help of the bank for their treasury. So velocity is important. The way we have to watch at velocity, so thanks to Catherine Chabiron, which is here, thank you. She asked some of her IT project leaders to explain the timeline of a project in this department. So when the line is low, it's waiting. When the line is high, somebody is working. And the question of this process and of your processes, the question is it a process where people work, or is it a process where value waits? So here it's quite good, really. I saw far, far worse. So here there is a 7 months lead time for this project with at least 3 months of added value activities, quite good, and 4.5 months of work. Okay. Okay. But however, at 3 months of waiting time. We had a presentation earlier this afternoon with BNP Paribas, and they say that they connected the dots. People were working in a cell together instead of using a nice workflow where you put a stock in another team and somebody one day will take something in the stock, process a little, and thanks to the workflow, put the stock somewhere else, and then waiting. So the process was 23 days long, and by connecting the dots, fighting against problems with the PDCA method and managing the red bins, they managed to reduce from 23 days to 1 day. And as Dan Jones told me, we are doing that in manufacturing every day. Okay, we would like to do that in IT environment every day. And you would like to do that in IT environment every day, because if you are not able in large structure companies to do that, your internal client, your business clients, will go to Amazon Web Services and ask the same service in 10 minutes. You know that. There was a speaker of Amazon Web Services here. Pull. Pull is much more difficult. The question of pull is to be as fast as your client are requesting you to be, and as slow as possible before using the material, energy, mandates of your company. So you have to coordinate everybody and every material flow just to be as fast and as slow as needed. Quite difficult. An example of pull, we didn't have it during this summit, but the question for a new employee is, when I will enter in the company, will I have a computer to work with? Will I have an email address, a telephone, and access to the system? And this company was 10 days too late. There was a question on variability. This is an average. Sometimes it was much more than 10 days, you know. So the impact of this was quite clear. New employees were quite disappointed, saying, okay, you wanted me to join your company, but maybe not that much. So they were quite disappointed. The cost was quite high because if you recruit somebody, you would like him to create value. So he was not creating value, creating perturbation for sure. Can you please show me this? Can you please show me that? So two people working on one computer, creating security problems. Can you, if I use your computer, can you give me your security code, please? Okay, so this is a problem. So when you look at this from a tactile point of view, you understand that you have to deliver one machine every 40 minutes. So calculate your takt time. And how can you deliver one machine every 40 minutes? If you're able, if the different people working in the creation of this workstation are able, each of them, of working every 40 minutes, you need one team in a cell. If they are not, you need to balance that between different teams. But how do you do that? Do you know your takt time? Yesterday there was a workshop on a game with origami and flow and pull and takt and so on. And the question was, what is takt time in features delivery? If you've got to deliver 20 features in 20 days, the takt time is 1 day. It's always possible to calculate the takt time. What prevents you to deliver the takt time? Perfection. Having example of perfection in lean and IT is quite difficult, but I think that in lean manufacturing also. But perfection, so I took my 10 years of backlog of lean activities, and first I remembered this interview of a former vice president of Amazon, and he thinks that IT is the new lean frontiers. And it would be great that if your software were as good in terms of quality as your washing machine. Okay, so at the moment, perfection, at least at Amazon, is not there. So you have to, for perfection, you have to find a way to measure perfection. It's something completely different from average that we are using every day. So I had the chance to discuss with somebody who is a chief engineer in new software and so on, with lots of ideas on that, and he told me that in infrastructure IT, you don't count anymore the availability of your system, you count the 9. So I gave you an example. It's somebody in charge of quite a large perimeter with lots of servers and so on. And he decided to do total productive maintenance on that. So he understood the manufacturing concept of that, and he deployed it on his perimeter of responsibility. And year 0, he had 1.9. Because he was 98% Year 1, he had 2.9, 99. And year 3, he had only 2.9, even if he improved the system. How many 9 do you have in your infrastructure? Can you reach 3, 4, 5 at the moment? I hope you can reach 1. Not enough. Perfection, quality of the code. What would it mean? So I went back to another experience I had a chance to see. And the guy was an agile team leader, and then he decided to do lean, and then he made different things. And after some years, he ended publishing a concept paper and saying, okay, now we are challenging ourselves on the number of errors out of 10,000 lines of codes. I don't know how many you have, but for him it was years of lean and agile implementation to reach 0.05 defects per clock. Again, lean and agile. And the last point, so this was a way of thinking the system, but the last point is how do you do that? And the question is how do you manage your people in your organization? Because as you saw, we are not that oriented in process description, process definition, the writing of a large basis of documentation and so on. We always say that improvement comes from people, not from engineers. When we started this conference, I told you that the CEO of Pixar decided to have the Lean way, the Toyota way, as his management model. So he's really impressed by that, and he's especially impressed by the capacity of people in a Toyota way system to address problems in autonomy with creativity. And he saw that in his company, it was something really important. And we had the presentation of Spotify some minutes ago saying we need to have these creative and autonomous people in our company. So at least in Pixar, the Toyota system is the system they chose. How can you handle with this organization less organic than in Spotify, more classical in large companies? How do you handle with a system which asks you to be the coach of your people on PDCA problem solving? This is a real question. I heard different questions, but what do you do with middle managers? Always middle managers, it has been for years. What do we do with middle managers? They resist, you know, they resist. Yes. We know a little bit more about that. You're laughing. No, we know a little bit more. So the first question at the top, who is your sensei? Who is talking to your CEO, CIO, saying, okay, let's go to the game bar and try to see something together? Do you have one? Did you fight to have one? You know, I don't know, so many senseis. So if you don't have them, and if you have a personal experience of Lean, can you imagine how a CEO or CIO comes inside a team and sees something from the Lean point of view? Shake hands, okay? Say, I'm happy to be here. You're so nice. You are important for me. This is the vision we have. Yes, but seeing something, some creation of value from the Lean point of view inside a team, you need a sensei for that, at least at the beginning. So who is the sensei of your executive management? Second question is, who is creating the value? It's always at the bottom line. They are doing something for the client. Whatever it is, they are working for the client. So they are the most important person if you want to create more value inside your company. So if you want to deploy Lean, the question is, how can you get the support of their first level of management? How can he or she take the responsibility of understanding the vision, defining the performance, seeing the value, implementing in a way or another the flow and the red baskets, seeing a PDCA, trying to solve it, growing in leadership because they make proposals, they ask support for others, and step by step they are improving. How do you engage your team leaders? Really, truly, that's truly think, how will you handle with this question? It means that you have the Lean spirit, which is completely open to experimentation. You want a good problem, you're open to causes analysis, you're open to experimentation. It's not the, don't you think that if it were blue, it would be better? And then think, you see, I was so open with them. No, not at all. So develop yourself this capacity of coaching, asking questions, showing the way, let them own the improvement. And then we arrived, after the executive management and the team leaders and their team, we arrive at the middle management. So always the same question. Yes, you know, the middle management, they are resisting. Yes, of course, why not? On the other hand, they are always often loyal to their company, you know. They are working a lot. They are firefighting on problems. They have been there for years, and they will stay often for much more years inside the company. So they are not resisting as much as we believe. However, the question is, what kind of support do you give them to be lean middle managers? You have to be lean middle managers. This is not a support. I will tell you the 7 ways. Yes, great. Okay, thank you. Now, what kind of support do you give them? How do you help them having a personal experience of a PDCA? Choosing one subject, checking with somebody that it's really a problem, not a nice to have, not a solution with a question mark at the end, saying, yes, you know, I put a question mark, so it's a problem. Okay, thank you. How do you help them doing that? How do you help them understanding the impact on the business? How do you help them understanding what is looking for causes? Not having one solution that we solve the problem, which is not at all what is happening in Lean, you know, but having ideas and having a plan for experimenting, asking the right question to the right person, getting the right support, checking, plan, do check, you know, checking the results. Not, I check that I did the action, but I check that I have the results, quite not the same. And then maybe learn something from that with the act part. Who is supporting the middle managers? Every company I see, they have 2 days of training on Lean, and then they resist. Difficult. So this was my conclusion on Lean thinking in IT. I hope you really enjoy this summit, and I hope we will see another year together here in Paris. Thank you.